Welcome to First and Gold, presented by Pickett Sports Boom Fantasy. It is here, Final Four Sunday. Two amazing games. I can't wait for these games. I've been ever since last night. Just kind of wake up and you want to just wake up and get ready and watch some football. We're still a few hours away to break it all down. BradThomas, Matkafee. Boys, what's going on? Are you ready?
I'm so ready. It feels like it's taking forever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just keep looking at the clock and it's only 11. The good news is we have this show that's going to occupy a lot of my time and take my mind off of, just sitting on my couch waiting for the game to start.
Man, I'm still reacting to Sammy turning his back on Roman last night at the Royal Rumble. That was epic. We had to rewatch it this morning. But yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited here for some good football. I think we've got some solid matchups and some potential for close games that come down to the wire. So yeah, I'll be locked in all day.
We'll start here with the early game and we'll just go through. We know with only two games, we can sort of get into these props, some of these exotic bets. There's some interesting ones.
Yeah.
There's a 3 here at Bet Rivers for Philly laying the 3. And if you like San Fran, figure out a way to get that 3. Totals ping pong back and forth between 45.5, 46.5. Brad, start us off. Just general thoughts on this game. What you like, what you bet.
Yeah. So this game is fun to me, right? Like all year, we've waited for this Eagles team to be really put to a test. And to me, this is their biggest test by a wide margin. The best defense they're going to play all season, the most creative offense that they're going to see all season. I think this is going to be such an emotionally draining game for the Eagles that I obviously like the Eagles to win, but if they win this game, I'm still scared for them in the Super Bowl. You have, why I like the Eagles ultimately, they're number one pass defense in the NFL. Their defensive line, it might, while they don't, produce the amount of sacks that like a singular guy like a Nick Bosa does, they're just very talented throughout the entire defensive line, which I think will give a young quarterback in Brock Purdy challenges. We've talked about Brock Purdy since the beginning of his start 6, 7, 8 games ago. And, I thought there would be a time when he, kind of fell off. And we didn't see that until last game. And last game was when they played a very, very tough defense. I think the Eagles defense is much more difficult. And it's really tough for me to just think Purdy's gonna go out there and torch the Eagles, right? So when you think about what Shanahan going to do to make life comfortable for his young quarterback, he's gonna want to run the ball. Well, both running backs for the 49ers are banged up. Christian McCaffrey has been banged up, and I don't even know if Elijah Mitchell is going to play. You cannot beat a team like the Eagles with just defense because they've proven time and time again they can win defensive battles or they can win shootouts. So I like the Eagles. I don't know how excited I'm going to start to be about as the number creeps up to 3s and potentially we tickle the 3.5. I don't know if we're going to get there because it's still a plus 100 for the -3, but I am on Eagles -2.5. I've talked about it all week. If you guys can get a 2.5, make sure you shop around, use Pickett, find your lines.
Yeah, for me, in pocket, I have Eagles money line 125.
Nice.
I grabbed that early when it dropped, and I think taking the Niners 3 and the Eagles money line is a nice play. You might set yourself up for a middle here because I think the game plan for Philly is going to be jump on the Niners, come out firing, kind of, try to get the lead like they did to the Giants, basically. The Giants want to muck it up and keep the thing as tight as possible. I think the Niners kind of the same thing. Obviously, it's a step up in defense, easier said than done to go out and put a 14-0 on the Niners, but that's got to be the game plan. If I'm Sirianni here, is do as much as I can to put the ball or put the game on Brock Purdy and the passing attack. The bigger the lead and the quicker we can do it, it allows our defense to rush the passer, tries to eliminate the play action passing game, and all of the strengths of the Shanahan offense. So I think the Eagles, like a first quarter, is a good look. I think, let me pull that up real quick so I'm not just telling you. I was trying to do the chat and have the
Probably
book
going to be a pick.
at the
I mean,
same
money
time.
line. It's probably going to be a pick 'em. It's going to be cheap. It's going to be minus
Yeah.
125, minus
Yeah,
130.
I like
Never lay 0.5. I'll just jump in. Never lay 0.5 in the first quarter. Too many games laying on a tie. You're not going to get many
Yeah.
possessions. Lay the extra juice for the money line. Do not lay the 0.5. That even goes, I would say, for a first half, unless you really feel strongly. Just go with the money line still instead of laying 0.5, because that 0.5 is that hook is dangerous in a small window where they're not trying to cover. At the end of the game, they're trying to win the game. Like first half, first quarter, nobody's pushing to win that. So I'd be very careful about the 0.5 laying it. First quarter, first half, things like that.
Yeah, so first quarter, I've got it up. The Eagles minus 1.5 at plus 114, or you go money line at minus 140. It's interesting. Let's just say that. I think that's the script. If I'm Philly, is do everything I can to get it going, and start throwing fast. So there's these specialty markets that I like a lot on FanDuel that have gained a lot of popularity here in the last week or two of the regular season, and here through the playoffs. The books have offered and opened up the menu a little bit more, so you can go into the specials for the game, and you can look at things to happen in the first quarter, like player props that are first quarter, and they're obviously scaled down. They're like so and so to get 10 yards, so and so to get 20 yards, so and so to get whatever it happens to be. So I kind of like attacking some of these Eagles receivers or Dallas Goedert as well in these first quarter specials, because let's see, I'm trying to pull up the value here. I was looking at it, but I might need to come back to it so I can not filibuster here while we're doing the show. But I do think that that's the game script. Try their best to establish the pass and then work the run off of there. But yeah, if you're asking me who I think wins the game, I do think the Eagles are the better team and the home field advantage. I do like it here, but I mean, the Niners, Robbie Gould has been nails here in the playoffs. Hurts, for as much as we're saying we haven't seen Brock Purdy do it, we haven't seen Hurts do it either. So, let's not just say that Hurts is, been to 5 Super Bowls and, won a couple of them. So, he's still, this is a big moment for him. In college, he wasn't able to win the big ones. Tua came in for him when he was at Bama. When he went to Oklahoma, they lost.
Well,
go ahead, take that.
There's also the inverse of that too, where Tua was struggling and Jalen Hurts came in and won the SEC championship for Alabama. So if that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those.
Hurt? Didn't Tua get hurt that game?
He was hurt like 3 games before it, coming back from an injury, and it just kept kind of lingered.
Yeah, so I think it's fascinating. So many good skill players in this game. Yeah. It could come down to just somebody breaking a tackle, somebody doing something like it. The margins are so thin here. So I think it is going to be about these playmakers, your Debos, your Samuels, your Kittles and Goddards. Can they be great and make that that play that we're all like, wow, that was incredible. Because they're so well coached, they're so well put together schematically. It'll come down to guys on the field making plays. So
such a great game. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. It's awesome. I kind of lean the under. I know you were kind of on the under this week. I heard you talking about it. I think so too. I as much as I said I like the Eagles to try to start fast. Both of these teams do want to run the ball, and so they're going to be afraid, I think, to truly go crazy. I don't think either team wants their quarterback throwing the ball 35, 40 times. So the under makes some sense. I think the Eagles can grind one out, like 20-16 kind of a game. Like it's going to be a nail biter.
I do like the under for a lot of the reasons you just mentioned. I think, as much as you think Philly was going to want to come out and jump on top of them, I agree with that. I think San Francisco, Shanahan, Shanahan could be a little conservative. They play at a slow pace, 61 plays per game, something like that.
Yeah.
I could see conservative. Shanahan's not one of these guys who's just going to go for it recklessly, and not even recklessly, aggressively. Sometimes he's too cautious. I think of the Rams. That was last year, the NFC title game, where it was like 4th and 1, and he's punting from the other side of the 50. And that really, I think, swung the game. I don't think he got enough flack for that. So, you're going to run the ball. I think they'll run the clock. They'll use the play clock. We see this a lot in big games. You see this all the time in the Super Bowl, where it's notoriously low scoring that first quarter. I could see a feeling out process. Both teams come out a little tight. Let's not lose it on the first series, the first quarter. So I could see sort of a feeling out period early. So maybe a first half under. I like the under just in general. And I think, it matches up here, for a good under game, like 23-20 somebody. I'm tempted to pick San Francisco. I have San Francisco in teasers. I think teasing the dogs is a good play. I think if you get San Fran plus the 3, it's a good play, just because I think it's such a dead even game. And hey, if you just want some action, you can tease the dogs and just play the favorites on the money line, and you can't get hurt too bad.
Yeah.
And maybe you hit all 3. So I think that's a good way to go. Let's see, where else should we go? Player props here. I feel like I had something else to add. Anything you guys really like here in terms of player props?
Yeah, I have a couple. So the first one, and I talked, this is the problem with big games, and there only being 2 games, is this morning the line was different. It was a lot different. So let's talk about Devonta Smith. Him to get at least 60 yards was minus 150 on FanDuel. Before the show, it was minus 168. So that just shows you how fast lines move when there's only 2 games. But I like Devonta Smith at his number of 66.5 as well. If it was 66.6, I wouldn't say take it, because that's just bad luck. But when I was going through this, looking at Devonta Smith's game log, he's quietly been a beast all season. Yeah, he's had that quiet game against Jacksonville, had a couple quiet games where, they just blew the teams out so bad they didn't play. I think this is going to be even. They're going to rely on him a lot. In his last 4 games, 67 yards, 115 yards, 113, and 126. But in those games, what's really important is the amount of targets. In 2 of those games, he had 8 targets. In the other 2, he had 12 and 13. Then when you go look to see if the stats or the advanced metrics back it up, so we're going to call A.J. Brown the number 1 wide receiver. We know how good San Francisco is with their secondary. They're 4th defensive DVOA against the number 1 wide receiver. They're 18th against the 2nd wide receiver in the set. And that's that role that Devonta Smith is going to fill up so much. If you want to keep digging further to show you the massive drop-off in their secondary, they're 30th against, when they run 3 wide, that 3rd wide receiver, they're 30th defensive DVOA. So I do think we're going to see a lot of Devonta Smith. To piggyback off that, if you guys are interested in this line, I took this minus 120, both Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown to get 50 yards each. I think A.J. Brown absolutely cooks. I thought his receiving total was just a little too high for me at 71.5, even though I do think he does cook. Like, it's not like one of those where I think it's too high, I would play the under. I just think it's too high for me to play it like by itself. I get it down to 60 or 50. It's a little bit more comfortable. This is going to be one of those games where you're going to see the deep shots downfield. You're going to see A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith have their 20, 30-yard receptions. And we've seen that San Francisco has been susceptible to big shots down the field. So those were 2 of my favorite looks for this game in terms of player props.
Yeah, I usually dig in pretty heavy on these, but these lines have been out for a few days now, and they've been beaten into shape. Once we get to, especially conference championship games, there's no more meat on the bone. These lines are beat into shape, and so I don't think we're getting much edge anywhere. So you're just a matter of trying to handicap a certain thing and try to figure out, okay, what do I like? So things I think I'm willing to go for here are field goal props. Both of these kickers I think can make it. I looked at the weather in Philly, and our producer can tell us it's like 47 and kind of partly cloudy there, no wind.
Yeah.
So I think Gould, like I mentioned, he's been nails. Elliott as well. I don't think coaches are going to pass up points in this situation. So
let me jump in. I think if you can find longest field goal, I think you're hitting on something. If you can find a team to have the longest field goal, I think San Fran's a good bet. And I think these books have those. It's just, man, there's so many you have to dig through to find it, and I'll try to find it. I think San Fran's a good bet because I think San Fran is more likely to, quote unquote, take the points. I think Philly's a little more aggressive, not reckless, but like 4th and 2, 4th and 3, instead of kicking a 54-yarder. Like I could see Shanahan trotting Gould out to kick a 52-yarder on 4th and 2. I would think that Philly's more likely to go for it. So maybe San Fran longest field goal is a good bet.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's a nice way to play it. Shanahan, yeah, like you mentioned, is probably going to be a little bit more conservative, having the rookie QB and being on the road. Sirianni, he seems like a guy that will kind of go for it, but in this type of a game where this is obviously the biggest game he's ever coached in. I just think you're going to revert to a little more caution, and maybe not, but this is the thing. Everybody's like, "Ooh, wide receiver this, running back that, quarterback this." I think the kicking props have been kind of ignored and left out there. So I'm going to play both kickers to make their field goals. So
do we have an over under points? We usually do, right? Over under made field goals, anything like that? I'm sure we do.
They're like 6.5, both of them, for the total kicking points.
I was hoping we can get our famous Tucker over 1.5 field goals, because I feel like if we get in the red zone, we'll get 2 field goals from Gould.
Yeah. Gould is a little juicy. I'm going to shop it around. I don't want to lay the 145 here on DraftKings. I'm going to peek over at like Caesars and a couple other books, see if I can grab a price a little more attractive.
But Gould or Gold? I think it's Gold, right?
Gold. I always say Gould. I
always said Gould too.
Yeah, I had some friends that spelled their name the same exact way and they pronounced it Gould. So forgive me, Robbie, if I got it wrong. But yeah, I read it as Gould. So
I'm only seeing points too. You said there is a field goal one out there.
Yeah, he's on DK and Caesars. I know definitely they offer the made field goals. I'm going to pull up Caesars here just because it's an interesting one and it's my fit. I do like it a lot, and I will be sending it out in my channel. So I might as well, for the people that are watching, go ahead and do the work for you right here and just let you know. Kicking points, that's not what we want. Made field goals, so it's 145 on both spots. Robbie Gould, like I said, he's been nails. So I'm happy to go for it and lay a little extra juice. Like Brad mentioned too, if the running game's a little banged up, you're probably less likely to go for it here in certain situations where you feel like maybe we can't pick up this short yardage. And who knows? It's tough. Elliott minus 104-ish kind of range, I think, is still in play as well.
I think that shows they're thinking along with us that like Philly's just more apt to go for it and San Fran's more likely to kick it, because those guys are both pretty good kickers. I don't think I kind of trust both those kickers. I would say top 5-7 kickers in the league.
Yeah. If they're on your fantasy team, you're not upset.
Right. Yeah, it's and like saying like you are on the road with a rookie. Like I think you'd be dumb not to take the points.
Yep.
I mean, I guess I agree with you directionally. I do think like 4th and 1, 4th and 2. He has so many weapons, and if McCaffrey's healthy, like you have Kittle, you have Debo, you have McCaffrey. Like that's why I thought it was 4th and 1. I think last year when he punts, it's like you first of all you have all these weapons. You're such a good designer of offense. It's sort of an irony that just trust yourself to you have a play where you can scheme up a yard here and your quarterback can move a little. So I don't know. I see both sides of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think we see how effective they were against the Giants, and we got to remember that like the Niners are going to be a lot more stout and resolute.
Yep.
So they scored 38 points. He only kicked 1 field goal that whole game, but how many of those trips are they going to convert into touchdowns this time around? Like it's obviously we think probably a lot less. I don't think the Eagles are scoring 5 touchdowns in this game. So, say they get what average game, you're going to get, 8 to 10 possessions or whatever. If they can score on 5 of them, 3 touchdowns maybe and 2 field goals or vice versa. I think that's enough to win, because most of these, almost every simulation and model has this game, in the low 20s. Like I haven't seen anything that says, Eagles are scoring 30 points today. So, yeah, I think we're in a good spot here. Looking at this game log here, that was the JV team, but he had 5 field goals against the Giants in week 18.
Such a strange game looking back, because they killed the starters and they struggled against the backups. Really odd game.
Yeah, weird one for sure.
I think in a weird way that we can talk about awards. I mean, it's not the day for it, but I think in a weird way that might have knocked Sirianni out of the coach of the year top 3, because he lost 2 in a row. Then they struggled against the Giants JV. And I was expecting to be a finalist. I wouldn't have been shocked if he won. Maybe that's what knocked him out, just not finishing strong.
I'm shocked he wasn't a finalist.
I'm very shocked. Like, I was like, whoa, what?
Me too.
Like, what's a guy got to do, man? Like, you elevate your team like that. They won 5 more games?
Yeah.
The year before, or was it? I think they won 9 games. Producer, help me out. Is it 9 games and they moved up to 14, right?
Yeah, they went 9 to 14.
Yeah, 9 to 14. That's pretty good. Like, obviously. Yeah. So, and number 1 seed, but yeah, these narrative awards are always funny.
Yeah.
There's no criteria like that. That's right. The problem is, what that means to one person means something totally different to another. So, I guess you're the people that don't think he's a top 3 coach. I mean, I didn't have a top 3 coaching performance. Maybe they did, but again, do we know? Do they send in a ballot and it's, hey, nominate your top 5, or is it you only get to vote for one? Like, we have no transparency at all. Like, it's weird. Like how this
used to be. I know at least for MVP, you only get 1 vote. That's why they're like, oh, Russell Wilson never finished whatever. It's like, because you only get 1 vote when he was never really the best quarterback. I think this year they expanded it where you vote for a top 5 and it's a point system, which What'll make it interesting for Purdy too, because we sat here on this show and talked about Purdy. I think he was 40 to 1. We're like, oh, he can't win. No way. And now he's one of the finalists. And I wouldn't be shocked if he won, which is crazy. Yeah.
The Niners are in for 3 postseason awards, right? Like with
Shanahan, Purdy, and Bosa, who's going to win. Oh, and Bosa.
Oh my God, and Bosa. Holy
crap. 4 awards for the Niners here. I mean, they are a national team. Niners. All the success they had in the 80s did make them a kind of a national team. You'll find Niner fans everywhere, but that'd be wild. Like if they go in there and sweep all those.
Yeah, it's like the Oscars when these movies win best director, best actor, best actress. There's just going to be a lot of Niners. One more before we move on. I should make the point. It's interesting. You go game by game for these teams. It's very unusual where you have 2 teams in a conference title game and neither has a really impressive victory.
Yeah.
San Francisco, I guess Dallas last week is their best win. Philly, they beat the Vikings, the Giants. Also congratulations. Dallas. The Lions. They beat Dallas without Dak, which you could say, oh, they're better with Cooper Rush, which I don't buy. But neither of these teams, they didn't play each other. Yeah. San Fran did play the Chiefs. The Chiefs buried them. Neither played the Bills. Neither played the Bengals. You just go through it. And, I think what you realize, there weren't that many good teams this year. There were a lot of just sort of mediocre teams, but neither team has a great win. That's what makes this game so fascinating. They're both the best team each other's faced or, will face.
When I got to ask you this, since we're getting into, these final games, would you play opening kickoff a touchback minus 145? I don't think I would for this game. I was pulling some numbers. Like, I think the 49ers only have like 22% touchback percentage.
Really?
That's
okay.
A good one. I would have thought it's like automatic. I don't really pay attention because it's become sort of so like just so routine where it's like the kickoff.
Eagles are like 58.
Wow.
Gosh.
I guess by the numbers, that's not a good price. What's the no touchback? Can you play no?
No, there's no. That's why I hate. I hate that there's no 2-way line.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's whack.
Philadelphia is 52.63 at home. San Francisco 33.8 on the road. Oh no, 61 on the road. I misread that. But they're 44% in general.
Yeah, must be nice to be a bookie. You make a bad line, you only take one-way action.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just great. It's just great.
Just let me just hang this out there. That's why the specials are always so like sketchy. Like
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, what special should I play?" You can't play the inverse of the special, so what's the point in playing it?
Yep, no doubt.
Gosh, I was trying to look that up to try to see some things and see about the touchbacks for us, and I just was looking at gold, and it's like 4 for 4 in the divisional against Seattle, 4 for 4 against Dallas. Like, yeah, I mean, 8 for 8.
Holy.
And 4 for 4 on extra points. So
holy smokes.
Yeah, the Niners aren't afraid to run him out there. Yeah, of their 12 scoring drives, 8 of them are on Robbie Gould's legs. So yeah, I locked that in just now.
2 more I want to touch on. I did play Hurts under rushing yards. I think it's 48.5, something like that. I hope I tweeted out. If not, I will.
You played his under?
Yeah, I just think that's a bad matchup. I think San Francisco is so athletic at linebacker, their defensive ends. I just don't think he'll be able to turn the corner and run for a lot of yards. If you look, they didn't play a lot of running backs, a lot of running quarterbacks. San Fran, they did play Fields week 1.
Yeah,
Fields only had 24 or 25 yards, 2.5 yards a carry. So I just think it's hard to run. I just think that's
especially with Fred Warner right there too.
Yeah, I mean I forget who was making the point. San Fran's linebackers almost run like D-backs, and that's the whole thing. If you're a quarterback, man, I just don't know that he's gonna be able to turn the corner and run and get big chunks. So I do like the under. They have these at DraftKings method of first score. So you could say San Fran gets a touchdown, that's plus 250. San Fran gets a field goal, that's plus 350. Eagles get a touchdown, that's plus 175. Eagles get a field goal, it's plus 300. Plus 350 looks interesting on San Francisco for all the reasons we mentioned. San Fran is a take the points kind of team. You figure, early in the game, they get a drive going. Plus 350 seemed like decent value. I'm curious if you guys had any thoughts on any of those.
You could take that one, Matkafee.
I don't think I'm going to jump in
now. All right. Final score prediction. What do you guys got? Who wins? What's the score?
So assuming Vegas knows and the script is out, I'm going to say 23-20 Eagles.
Yeah, I had 24-20 Eagles. It's under the total. Eagles cover. Eagles win money line.
What's the bet splits at right now? I've heard Eagles all week. So is that how the bets are looking? Brad, I know you usually have the bet splits.
I normally do. Give me 1 second.
I can look it up too. I didn't know if you had it, but what do you think? Are the books Niners fans, or are they?
I think the books are rooting for the Niners this week.
It may be regional too. Like
exactly,
all those books are probably need the Niners, and if Vegas needs the Eagles probably.
And San Fran's obviously in California. There's no, it's not legal in California. So Connecticut, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all these places, it's legal. All along the East Coast where there's Eagles fans. Along the West Coast, yeah, you can make the drive to Vegas, but that would definitely affect it. I would think.
I know the Bay goes over to Tahoe, right? Like they just drive over there. It's not too far for them.
Yeah. So we got like 60. It's like 60-40 for bets, and then 85-15 for money Eagles. I was waiting to get that report for. I'll post this in my chat channel too. But when I get the points bet report, I'll send it so everyone can see it.
You know what factors into that too? I mean, it's the same thing we went through last week with Eagles Giants. People saw the Giants look good. They bet the Giants. Giants were a hot team last week. Everyone saw the Eagles look great. Everyone saw the Giants. Everyone saw San Francisco sort of scrape by. So people, Eagles are back. It's Purdy on the road. So I think there's probably some recency bias. I guess we can move on to the next game. I will call it 23-20 also. I will give San Francisco the win. I'll say San Fran 23-20.
Nice.
My wallet doesn't like that.
If McAfee's works out, look, I'm going to tease the dogs. I'll probably play Philly on the money line. So if it's 23-20 Philly, that'll work just fine for me. I think it'll be a great game. I'd be shocked if we're not sitting here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think you tease the dogs 100%. Like,
I need a Philly 1 or 2 point win. That I would be a very happy guy. But I've set myself up where it'll be it. I won't get hurt either way. I think I need to. Between a couple books, I gotta do the math here, and it's like grabbing a slice here, grabbing a slice there. Like it's even worse in the other game.
Yeah.
I think I've got +2 on both sides. I wish I would have got 2.5 or teased, like, did a 6-point teaser when it was 2.5 on both sides. Like, I would have a monster middle there, but no, unfortunately I didn't. But maybe
That's a nice little segue as we are first and goal picked at sports, boom fantasy. Check them out. Cincy and Kansas City. It's now Kansas City -2. For all the talk of the line movement, like you said, it's either team by a point or two. So it matters. It matters for teasers. It matters for money line, but it's not like you're going through the 3 on either side. It's not going to be a tie. It's a playoff game. Game's probably not going to land on 1.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? It always could, but just percentage wise, it's not likely. Look, I don't know how you handicap this game without coming to some conclusion about how Mahomes is, and I just don't know how how healthy
Right?
Mahomes is. You can sit here and guess, you could have all your theories, but look, we bet on sports. We're not doctors. I was very skeptical early in the week that he'd play well. I saw him jogging. I saw him jumping off podiums. I said, boy, does this guy really have a high ankle sprain?
Right?
So maybe there was some sketchiness with the diagnosis. He was hobbling around bad against Jacksonville. I don't know what to believe. I teased the dogs. I have some other little side plays, some derivatives, but I think this is a game where it's live betting. You wait to see a few plays and how Mahomes is. Maybe you watch a drive and you go from there. I don't know how you have any confidence in how Mahomes is. And if you don't have any confidence in how Mahomes is, I don't know how you bet this with a lot of confidence. Matt, where are you at with this one? Start us off. Chiefs and the Bengals, second straight year of the AFC title game.
Yeah. Where I'm at is I think you could grab because it's moved back to what Chiefs -2, or that's where we're at right now.
Yes,
2.5 on I'm looking at on FanDuel here. I think you could grab 2.5 with the Bengals here, and I think the Bengals will score first, and then grab the Chiefs when they're down 7-0.
Yep.
I'm taking the Bengals to score first. Like when we get to that part of this segment where like what any first touchdown scores you like, I'm going to be on the Bengals side of things because that's what they're going to want to do. Obviously, it's what they do to every team is like, hey, give us the ball, and we're going right at you, strength for strength, like, and so, we'll see. I mean, the matchup's fun because Spags, like, is he going to go after Burrow? With this offensive line as beat up as it is, I would think he would. Like, that seems like that's what he's going to do is get him off his spot and go after him. So maybe you see him. I mean, Burrow just doesn't care though. He'll take that. He'll stand in there and take it. So I do think the Bengals passing game has some success today. I don't suspect them to have as much success as they did against Buffalo on the ground. I would say that was one takeaway that I was shocked, not surprised, shocked that Joe Mixon was able to run the ball that well. And I just don't see it translating to today's game for whatever reason. I just think Jones in the middle there can kind of shut things down. How that backup line got that kind of push on the Bills. Maybe it was the snow. Maybe it was. I don't know. Like I still am befuddled, but because he was averaging like 2 yards a carry. I mean, he was
all season.
Got no burn, no push. Like, and then all of a sudden he's like ripping like 7-8 yards a carry, and you're like, where has this been? But yeah, I think you can get plus money on both sides here. And I mean, you catch the Bengals +2.5. They very well might win the game outright. But yeah, I mean, at some point you're going to be able to get the Chiefs at plus money here. I think I don't see a spot where the Chiefs are up 10-0. I don't see it with Mahomes. You mentioned his ankle. I mean, he's still got such a creative arm. He can kind of deliver throws from all over the place. Obviously, you need your legs for that, but without your legs, I guess that's where your accuracy kind of gets hurt. So maybe the Bengals for Mahomes to throw an interception, it might be a good look.
Great point. I totally agree. because he can make it's like a pitcher, when your arm's tired or something, like, yeah, you could still get the velocity up, but you have the command, you have the control, and all it takes is one ball to float on him or sail or get away. And especially if he's going to be confined to the pocket, so much of his greatness is just getting outside the pocket and finding Kelsey, running, and just extending the play. I don't know that that'll be there, but I don't know that it won't be there. So it's just tough.
They're going to have to do things to try to trick and slow down the Bengals pass rush. So I think what that means is screenplays and short passing game. So I think we see a busy day for McKinnon out of the backfield. I think they are going to try to run Pacheco. Maybe, Travis Kelsey, obviously, he can't have a better game than he had last week. But they're going to have to keep getting him involved, it's Mahomes. I don't know if he's going to be able to, like you said, extend those plays and take those shots deep downfield. So I look for a lot of reception props for maybe the short and intermediate route runners. Yeah, I think Juju as well is another target potentially. But yeah, go ahead, Brad. Man, I feel like I'm taking all the talking points.
No, you're good. I think this is a great game, like you said, to kind of tease the dog here. And when I talked about this game earlier in the week, I was saying you can tease the Chiefs when they were a 1-point dog. You can tease the Bengals. The Bengals this season, outside of that game with the Browns, in any of their losses, they haven't lost blowouts. They've been close 2 and 3 point games. So when you're giving me 9 points, 8 points here with the Bengals, I think that's pretty fair. And also part of me feels kind of confused about this game, right? Had to been a misdiagnosis of Patrick Mahomes to say a high ankle sprain, right? Or is he just gutting through it? And if he is, that really terrifies me for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if I'm going to go out there and lay minus 135 on a Chiefs money line, but with the Mahomes that I don't know what's going to happen. And then we want to talk about line versus line, the defensive line versus the Bengals offensive line. It's the Bengals defensive line versus the Bengals offensive line, not head to head, but comparing the two are night and day different, right? But when we think about the Chiefs defensive line and the Chiefs offensive line, they're both pretty talented. So it's which is going to hold up more against the pressure. We know the Bengals, they're going to stop the run. They're going to try to stop the run. We know the Chiefs are going to try to pressure Joe Burrow, try to get after the quarterback. There's a lot to like about both teams and a lot to dislike from a handicapping perspective. For me, when it comes to a side, if you want to take +2 or -2 or money line, for me personally, I'm staying off of this unless I'm teasing, like Will said, both dogs, because I don't see either game being a blowout here. There's just so many question marks, right? And then when I look from a prop perspective, outside of Pacheco, which I gave out already, do I want to take Joe Burrow, who threw for 400 plus against this? I think they're 15th in pass DVOA for the Chiefs. Maybe, but it's going to be cold as crap. I was looking at the weather report. It's projections 10 degrees, and that is 13 degrees lower than what it was projected at the beginning of the year, which was beginning of the week, which projected from 20 to 23. We also seen these teams, when they get in these tough situations, be okay with just running and running and running. So this game has got me in a whirlwind. Well, I'll let you go ahead and be the decider for me.
No, I think we all covered it. I think, to sit here and say, oh, he's definitely going to be okay. He's definitely not going to be okay. I mean, we're all just guessing, and who the hell knows? I think we'll know a lot early. I'm curious what you guys think. Will Reed first drive, even first play, will he call a pass to air it out and hey, he's fine, or will he just be conservative and run it? I'm curious.
I think he throws it. A little small screen pass to one of the little small receivers they got.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the look. I think he calls a run and a pass, but every time, and it's up to them to decide based on what look they get, what they're going to run. So, I think the first play is you put it in Pacheco's belly and let him, go up the gut. They'll be in there. It's kind of a spread formation and kind of see how the Bengals are going to attack them. And then, you put it in his gut, let him run up the middle, see how that responds, hey, what can you guys stuff this. Because if they can establish the run and keep Mahomes protected, then you do that. You know what I mean? That makes sense. Like, you don't put him in extra harm's way unless you absolutely need to. And hey, if Pacheco runs for 80 or 90 yards today and 2 touchdowns, like, that's perfect. I think Andy Reid takes that right now. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun one. But I think this is a perfect game where you could I mean, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but you could arb and get plus money on both sides here.
Yeah,
Like,
that'd be fun.
at some point, both right now, pre-flop, obviously you can get the Bengals at plus money. And if they go out and get that first touchdown, like I suspect they do, you just come back on the Chiefs and you're out. I did it. I made some money, but I know that that's not fun, and a lot of people don't like betting that way. But yeah, it's fascinating. But yeah, who do I think ultimately wins? I think the Chiefs will win. I feel like, you know, Burrow's got this little trend against Mahomes and against the Chiefs here. So law of averages. You know, the Browns with Baker and Jacoby and stuff kept beating Burrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of these things, like, eventually the law of averages will even out. It's hard to keep beating a team over and over and over again. So I will take the home team in a get back spot here. I think it's, I don't like picking against Burrow and this Bengals team because I do feel like they got that kind of it factor. But they're a great ATS team for a reason. So, you know, you like Brad said, that teaser is tasty. Like, yeah, I think Bengals teased up is it's awesome. Like, how do you not like that leg? Because they're never going to be out of it. You know, even if Casey's up 30 to 17 with 5 minutes left, Bengals are not going. They're not just going to go out meekly. They're going to do everything they can to try to get that you're alive for that back door the whole way. So I think that's a perfect teaser leg.
All right, let's get to before we get to let's get do first touchdown because we didn't do it for either game. We'll do first touchdown, but quickly final score. I know it's we're it's a shot in the dark for everyone, especially with this game. But what would you go final score here? Chiefs Bengals. I'll go first. I'll go 30-27 Chiefs with not a lot of confidence, but I'll go 30-27 Chiefs.
Man.
Yeah, I think it will be 27-24 Chiefs. So same thing, just a little less points.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the similar as you guys, but I have Chiefs winning. And I do think the over hits 48. I can't think of a score. Like, it's just so difficult. Like, I think after we see 2 series from the Chiefs, we're gonna know what Mahomes looks like. You know, like this is one of those situations where everything's felt so close to the vest, right? Like, Mahomes does his little 30-second walk, and he has his little 30-second clips at practice, but like, we don't know anything else outside of that.
Right.
Yeah, if Vontaze Burfict was playing, he'd be going in there for an ankle lock or something.
Facts. Yeah, do a gator roll.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's for a trip to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So they're going to try to. I would think usually they rush 3, drop 8. I would think they bring a little more pressure, which is always dangerous against Mahomes. But hey man, hit him, make sure that ankle's okay, and look, it's for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. We're not trying to make friends here. We're trying to win the game.
Yeah.
Right.
First touchdown score. Let's do Eagles San Fran first before we get out of here, and then JD has a parlay, so I'll read that. McCaffrey's the short shot in the Eagle game, 6-1. Hurts plus 750. AJ Brown 8-1. Miles Sanders 10-1. Debo's 10-1. Kittle's 10-1. Boy, I say it every week, but so many of these guys at single digit prices are 10-1 or shorter. It's hard to find value here. Look at Purdy. Purdy's like 30-1. That would be one that I would take a flyer on. Matt, anything that jumps out to you in terms of having value?
All right. So value would be Boston Scott 31-1. That has value. Now that we're in the playoffs here, Boston Scott's role in the offense has ticked up a little bit. I'm fading Goddard because I feel like Warner will be on him, and Hurts is smart. as good as Goddard is, like Fred Warner is a better player. So you want to take advantage of a matchup somewhere else. So I kind of think Devonta Smith at 11-1. I like it. I do think the Eagles will score first, and I think he's just a better value than trying to take like a Miles Sanders or a Jalen Hurts or an AJ Brown at less than 10-1 when the Niners are going to be looking out for Jalen Hurts. Like he will be spied. He will be, like you mentioned,
Yeah,
I think you said you're on his under, right?
he is.
Under rushing, Will.
Oh
So
yes, Hurts under
yeah.
rushing yards, absolutely.
So I mean, unless it's a a 1 yard sneak or something like that, like I just don't think that well, and I say that, but didn't Dak? No, that was a different game. But anyway, I'm just trying to think outside the box a little bit with that Boston Scott 31-1.
Dak did almost run in. It would have been the first one. I was on it last week, and he got tackled at like the 2 or the 3. Then it went.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I mean he's a better athlete, but I just how much are you? Well, I mean, and again, it's a trip to the Super Bowl, so you don't worry about, hey, am I going to get hurt here? So he does go for it, but I like Smith and I like Boston Scott as a longer shot.
Yeah, so if anybody who watches The Bank is Open, we did the TNT parlay. So I used my free bet on a parlay, first touchdown score parlay with AJ Brown and Jamar Chase. Now talking value, I'm with Matkafee here on Devonta Smith. And I don't know, like, it's one of those weird situations where part of me just feels like I feel like I'm like being a homer with like these Alabama dudes, but they're playing so good. They're playing, and Devonta Smith has a ton of first touchdowns. It's either Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith on this team. So I think he has a ton of value there. And then looking at the 49ers, like they just announced that Elijah Mitchell's going to play. I don't think you're going to use Elijah Mitchell anywhere but like the red zone. Like he has a groin injury, and so I think if you want to see a 21 shot on Elijah Mitchell, that's where you want to kind of use that there.
And I like Purdy 32-1. To me, that's worth a shot. Who knows? Play action, little bootleg, QB sneak. With all the weapons, maybe you're focused so much on McCaffrey and on Kittle that Purdy could just sneak one in there. He's a pretty good athlete at 32-1. Look, I'm gonna go crazy, but that's one that's at least interesting. How about the second game here? As I pull up the odds, anything you guys like in the second game, first touchdown, any bets you've made? First touchdown, Kelsey is a short shot plus 650. Chase 7-1. Both those guys got it last week for their respective teams. Mixon plus 750. Pacheco plus 950. And I'm curious what Mahomes is with that ankle because I don't think he's going to get it. I'm just curious. Wow, 30-1. 30-1 on a high ankle sprain. He used to be 30-1 healthy. That shows how much these markets have changed. Brad, anything for Bengals Chiefs first touchdown?
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Like I tried to use some kind of like stats to find the dogs, right? And nothing like super stood out except for the running backs for like to fade the running back game for the Chiefs, which means to take Joe Mixon, but at plus 750, I didn't want to, or take the other wide receiver for the Chiefs, which would be Scantling. So maybe MVS at plus 2,200. I told you guys I'm already on Jamar Chase. If like God forbid if I hit that first leg with AJ Brown, I'm gonna 100% play another player in this second game and try to like kind of hedge myself. So maybe MVS would probably be a little value at 22-1 for me.
Yeah, it's a Bengal or nothing for me. Chase 7-1 is a little tight for me, a little tight. So
that's what she said.
Yep. Hey, that's a good thing. Let's see. We're gonna go with, or is it? I don't know. I mean, I'm just we're gonna get ourselves in trouble here. Our sponsors are probably cringing, but I almost went really off the cuff here, but I
it's like rein it in.
Family show. I could hear people freaking out, but no. Chase 7-1 makes sense. I mean, he got it against Buffalo, so you're almost like law of averages. You want to move away from Chase.
And did he get in the game before that too?
That would have been week 18.
No, the Ravens game in the
Ravens
playoffs.
game.
I'm trying to think of who got
Yeah.
it.
Was it Hurst against the Ravens?
I don't remember.
I feel like Hurst got in against.
It was Chase.
It was.
Okay. Yeah. Hurst didn't score a touchdown. Chase got the first one, and Mixon got the second one, and then they had that defensive touchdown.
So now we're really tempting the law of averages here.
Yeah, we are.
Now you get the first touchdown 3 times in a row. So for that reason, I'll pivot away, and I'll go towards T. Higgins here. I think I think his matchup physically against one of these Chiefs. I don't think he'll get Ward. I think Ward will be on Chase. So Higgins 10-1. I like. I was looking at Tyler Boyd 17-1 and Hurst 19-1. I don't hate those either. But
Mahomes is completely healthy, and Mahomes we've been duped, and Mahomes runs one in 30-1. I mean, that's just
oh my god,
65 yard sprint down the middle of the field.
The problem with that, he's probably not going to sneak it, even if he's out.
Right.
You wouldn't think he would sneak it no matter what.
Yeah, he hurdles somebody on his way in.
Burrow 28-1's not bad.
Burrow for me is so situational. Like it is a 1 yard. Hey, I'm gonna lift it up over the. He's good at that. He's kind of got that Tom Brady, sneak down.
Right.
He finds the way.
I think your playoff game, though, everything on the line, that he's more inclined to run. And if it's like 3rd and goal from the 8, nothing's open.
He's more inclined to say, "Hey, I'm going to trust one of these guys. Like I got dudes out here." And so I feel like, especially with that line.
Yeah, that's the thing. A line could chase him into a scramble where he's just got to be flushed out, and then he sees an opening and runs. I mean, we're digging super deep. I'm just like 28-1. Who knows? The other one that's interesting. P. Ryan at 23-1. I think he did have a touchdown that kind of got them back into it in the AFC title game last year. I forget if he caught a pass at 21-3, but he got one. I actually like his over receiving prop too. I feel like, with the line the way it is, they'll throw it to him a little bit. So P. Ryan at 23-1 is not bad either.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna be either on Higgins or Boyd. And I think that will be the way I rock and roll with it.
That's tasty.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get out of here, JD has a 4-leg same game parlay, pays almost 66-1 plus 65.93. It is AJ Brown 125 plus yards, AJ Brown anytime touchdown, and then Jamar Chase anytime touchdown. Jamar Chase 125 plus yards.
Ooh.
Plus 65.93. That's not a bad look there. Plus 65.93 for just, you need Chase to go off, you need Brown to go off. Yeah. And there's obviously some correlation there. So check that out. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, man. This is crazy that we're down to our last 3 football games of the season.
Don't even say
Every time I think about it, I just start to tear up a little bit.
And I love the Super Bowl, man. It gets tedious. 2 weeks of talking about the same game, the same narratives and storylines.
At least when we talk about the novelty props, those are always fun.
Oh, those are great. Those are great. But just in terms of you can't do 2 weeks straight. When you start to listen to 2 weeks straight of the same game, by the time that game comes along, you just play the damn game already. But boys, this was fun. 3 hours. I don't know what we're going to do for the next 3 hours. Watch some college basketball, watch whatever. But
yeah, man, I'm going to watch Sebastian Allaire score a goal and win us some money over in the chat. So
yeah, let's hope for that. And I think what else have we got? Well, there's some good little afternoon. Get a little afternoon soccer for an appetizer before these games get going. Will, we got to bring you along.
Yes.
PSG's playing, so we can see Mbappe and Neymar and Messi and Napoli play as well. They
Napoli. I think. Look, everyone's going to be thinking about the Napoli draw. I think Napoli rolls. This is another statement game because, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the manager was like, at times it feels like his team has been looking at the views of being the number 1 team, and he's like, they haven't been focused on the mission of the destination. When he said that statement, I was like, oh, they're rolling. They're rolling.
Well, you get Spalletti versus Mourinho. Right?
Yeah, Spalletti. Yeah, I'm like, I couldn't really draw a blank on his name. Yeah,
and of course Real Madrid play as well. So loaded soccer slate to keep your appetite satiated until the kickoff of these NFL games.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was fun. Good luck with all your plays. Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy. Check them out. Gold Boys, goldboys.com. Brad, Matt, we'll see you next time. This was fun.
Yeah.
Good luck and enjoy it. Let's be back. I think Tuesday, Thursday, bank is open. So check out all of our Twitters. We'll tweet it out. See you next time.
Peace.